I want to talk about proposals, like just very simple way of putting proposals together for your clients. Just some basics on proposal preparation. We can get into way advanced things, but I just want, people to, kind of the new person to think about what they need to show the client. And I'm big on just the 3-option close, and that's that sheet that's in there that we make available where you have 3 sections, and this is on your ATM, and you have the, basically it's the price. I forgot how exactly the format is, but there's the price and then there's the benefits, okay? And there's option 1, 2, and 3, okay? And so what should you show someone on a basic proposal? And if it's a mortgage protection program, and it's like someone that has their, kind of average age, I'd say average, age person, maybe middle age or so. Okay, not the senior client. Okay, so this is probably not a senior client, but someone maybe in their 40s, maybe 50s or below. On a mortgage protection, I like to do a 3-option close. So let's say their mortgage is $100,000. So normally, what I do is I find out in the About You page, I find out there, I do the, Joe, we got Joe and Mary. And what I find out is how much money do they make? Just ballpark annual income. Let's say Joe makes $50,000 a year and Mary makes $25,000 a year. Okay, so right away, and then the question I ask is, so Joe, when you die, how much of your income is going to go to Mary? And he'll say, well, nothing. Okay, so Mary, when you die, how much of your income goes to Joe? Nothing. And the reason why that's relevant is, who knows, maybe sometimes they've got set up in such a way that maybe some of their income does, or in the event of a senior person, it's half their Social Security will go to the other person, just, ballpark, that sort of rule of thumb. But when you ask them that question, then you know that, okay, so Mary, when Joe dies, you're going to go from 75,000 household income to 25,000. She says, yeah. Joe, when Mary dies, you're going to go from 75,000 to 50,000. So it sounds to me, between the two of you, that Mary, you have a more serious problem. So let me ask you, Mary, how are you going to make your mortgage payment? Well, let's say their mortgage payment is just $1,000 a month. So Mary, how hard is it going to be to make your mortgage payment? And she can say, oh, it's going to be pretty hard on $25,000 a year, because that's like half my income every month, and that's gross. They take taxes out, right? So it's not, she's not going to have $2,000 a month, So she's going to have difficulty. So we know she's going to have difficulty. So my proposal, the first proposal I'd do would be on Joe. Okay, I'm going to look at covering Joe. All right, and just like what Scott said, the question comes at the end. Well, what about Mary? So when they ask about covering the other person, that's when I'll show them a second proposal on Mary. But I want to cover who's got the worst problem, and a lot of times it's the wife. Sometimes it's the husband, but a lot of times it's the wife. So I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, so just a standard mortgage protection. What I'm going to do for, I'm going to go low, medium, and high. So I look at 1, 2, and 3 as low, medium, and high. When you show 3 options, typically they're going to pick the middle option, okay? Or they could pick the high one, but I want to show the high one anyway, just in case. So, but I don't show 20 options, because the problem with 20 options is they get so fried to consider all these choices. I want to limit the choices to just a very specific number that they can handle. 3 options is typically what they can handle, so do not do more than that, or else you're going to really mess yourself up. So the first option, I go to the third option, which is the high. I'm going to show covering the whole mortgage amount. Okay, I'm just making this very basic for y'all. So cover the whole mortgage amount. Let's say covering the whole mortgage amount is like $75 a month. But it covers the entire mortgage amount. The second option is, since I consider their mortgage, their difference in income, the way I look at that is, if Mary's income goes down by 2/3, okay, which is what, 50%, which is what his going from 75,000 to 25,000, her income drops by 2/3. So that's like 66% of the mortgage. So the way I look at it is, if I can get her enough money to refinance the mortgage and drop that mortgage payment down, then I'd like to do that. So I multiply 100,000 times 0.66. If he makes half the income and she makes half, then I'd multiply it by half. So, so 66%, so that's 66,000. So I'm going to show 66,000. And that's a little bit finer point, but I want to explain to them why 66,000 works. Okay. And let's say that's $50 a month, which is probably what it's going to be, because relative to the 75. Is that, Mary, option 2 will allow you to get 2/3 of your mortgage paid up. You can pay down 2/3 of your mortgage. So now your $1,000 a month goes down to $330 a month, because I've taken 1/3. So she's only going to pay 1/3 of the mortgage. So 1,000 times 0.33 is $330 a month. So Mary, on $25,000 a year, do you think you could make your mortgage payment, make a $330 a month mortgage payment? And she'll say, well, yeah, it's going to make it a lot easier. Absolutely, because it's the percentage of her income. Okay, does that make sense to y'all? Kind of the rule of thumb is like the 1% rule of thumb, you know, of 100,000 is the mortgage payment roughly. And so when you can drop the mortgage payment by the percentage of the drop in income, then you get the payment down to where the monthly mortgage payment down. So again, the mortgage payment, if you use the 1% rule, which is, you know, with the interest rates as they are now, is very generous. It's very conservative, you know. So you're really showing them something that'll work. And then for the third option, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them. The other thing. Then I'm going to show them like maybe a minimum. The minimum on a simplified issue term is 25,000. So I'm going to show a 25,000 option, and then maybe a 25,000 accidental death benefit. Okay, and then the way I tell, and that might be $20 a month. Okay, so notice that the differences are significant. I don't try to shave it off by a few bucks, like $5, $5, $5. It's significant jump between 75 to 50 to $20 a month. Okay, and here I explained to her, look, 25,000 if he dies in an illness, okay, but because Joe's younger, it's probably going to be in an accident. And so in this scenario, if you get 50,000, right, you'd be able to pay your mortgage down. And let's say this happens 10 years from now, you're going to owe less. So this is going to be about the same option as this one. So would you be able to still make your mortgage payment on, you know, half your mortgage? You know, said, well, yeah, I could make it. Okay, cool. So you show them very significant differences. So option 1 is the full mortgage. Options 2 is the income. I call it the income ratio. And option 1 is the minimum death benefit, and I added accidental death benefit, so it's going to be, you know, lower. So hopefully that makes sense in the scenario of someone who's, you know, kind of a normal age. So if you got, let's talk about if you have a senior client, okay? And the senior client, you're really going to be talking, because covering the full mortgage, or, you know, a big chunk of the mortgage is going to be very expensive, okay? So let's kind of do this scenario again. 100,000, Now they're senior clients. Maybe they're age, 65 and 70 years old. Okay, so now we're talking, the retirement income is going to be a little bit different. They're going to talk in terms of monthly. So I like to talk monthly income with the seniors. And let's say Joe brings in, $4,000 a month, and Mary brings in, let's say $2,000 a month in retirement income. And so when you ask the question, Joe, when you die, how much of your income is going to go to her? Typically he's going to say there's going to be some, like maybe his retirement have survivor benefits where when he dies, some of his income is going to go to Mary. So let's say, another 2,000. So I put the total amount as 6,000 a month. So now she's going to get 2,000, which is actually kind of high, but just for the purpose so you understand. So she'll have 4,000 left. And then if Mary dies, he'll have 1,000, so he'll have 5,000 a month. So you go 6,000 to 5,000. And so again, I'm going to find out who's got the worst problem. Mary does, because her income drops down by a third. Okay, we did a third again. But now we're talking, how they can maybe cover the mortgage. So what I might do with them is I might talk about maybe giving her enough to get I could talk about getting her enough to pay down the mortgage. So, to get this $1,000 a month down to, where it's, 600, let's say $700, $700 a month. That's taken, that's like a third of the mortgage. So 100,000 times 0.33. So that's a little bit opposite. So now, if I can get her 33,000, she can drop the mortgage down so that the payments are going to be affordable in her income, 4,000 a month. Okay, and this is probably a very high scenario. My seniors don't typically have this much money, but just so you understand the concept. So I'm going to see if we can get a couple for 33,000, and let's say this is $150 a month. And then what I'm going to do is, if I can get her 33,000, then I might try the minimum 25,000. All right, and so that'll be kind of a little bit. That might be 120 a month. And then I might go minimum like a whole life. That will like be 12 months of mortgage payments. Oh no, I can't do 12 months. So let's say 6 months of mortgage payments. So 6,000 of whole life, which is 6 months of mortgage payments. So let's say that's 50. Okay, so this is a whole life product. This is term. And this is term. All right. So this is another way to show her. I might even throw the accidental on this as well. So 6,000 death benefit, and then accidental death benefit, might be $50 a month. So this is a scenario where you can use a combination because their age is young enough where they could get a term. Yeah, maybe it's like 60 and 65. Maybe she's 60 and he's 65. This is where you can do something like this. Now, if it's 70 and 75, okay, if they're 70 and 75, then the options are different. And this may show you kind of the third way when you're purely working in whole life scenario. And the situation then becomes mortgage payment protection. Let's say their income is a lot lower, 2,000. This is 500. Maybe she's making 1,000, and this is 1,000. So 3,000 coming into home, and now she drops down to 2,000. Okay, and he's 2,500. Yeah, and she has the problem. So if you're in pure mortgage payment protection mode, then and their mortgage payment is like $1,000 a month, then I might do I might do 12,000 of whole life. Remember, these would be whole life scenarios. So this is 12 months of mortgage payments. Okay, and I don't like emphasize the 12,000. I emphasize 12 months of mortgage payments. So Mary, do you think if you had 12 months to stay in your home, do you think that you could have enough time to sell your home and get the most equity out of your home, so that'll allow you to move into a different place? And she says, yeah. So maybe this 12,000, maybe this is I don't know, $80 a month. Okay, and then so this is 12 months, and I'll do 6 months. So that's 6,000. Okay, might even throw accidental death in there too. So that might be $40 a month. And then I might do maybe 3 months, 3,000, 3 months of mortgage payment. So this is 6 months, and this is 3 months of mortgage payment. You know, and that might be $20 a month. So Mary, if you had 3 months, do you think you would be able to, you know, get some help and, you know, get your house ready to sell? At least something's better than nothing. You know what I mean? It'll buy you time. With 3 months work or 0 months? You know, which option looks better? Having 3 months of mortgage payments to keep your mortgage payment going, or having them foreclose on you because you can't make the mortgage payment? You know, you're talking real stuff here. So these are kind of the 3 simple scenarios that you might run into. Again, with the term programs, you do the full mortgage, you know, the income ratio mortgage and the minimum. They're kind of like, they're not super old, but they're like retirement age-ish. They just got, you know, they're in the process of retiring. Then you can show some term and then a whole life scenario. And then here, if they're like super old, then you can do the mortgage payment protection scenario. So those are like the 3 scenarios that you could run into, and hopefully that made sense.